Hey, and welcome to this fourth video in the Docker tutorial series. So far we learned about how to manage the images and containers. So we haven't actually spawned a proper container so far. So in this video, we're gonna do that. What we'll be doing is we'll actually see example with any of the database that is one of the most common use case of the using Docker. We'll install this database inside Docker on our machine. And we'll see like how to manage the database and all, and how to clean it up, and how to store the data and everything else. Okay. So here I'm on the Docker Hub. This is the official MongoDB image called as Mongo. Now you know how if you want this image on your machine, you just have to run this command and then Docker run. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like the way that it worked with Node.js. You cannot just run docker run -it. Remember, it's gonna spawn the interactive terminal. We don't want to stay in the terminal forever when the Docker is running, right? What we want is Docker should run in the background, and it even if I close my terminal. The way that we saw with the Node.js was a bit different. We landed into the Node.js REPL itself inside the terminal. Right inside the Docker container itself, right? Docker run and -it command. And like I said, we can't do this with MongoDB. If we do that, you'll stay stuck, and your MongoDB will only run until this command is active. If you press Control C, MongoDB will stop. And or even if you just press the terminal, MongoDB will stop. We don't want that. We want to run MongoDB, but it should keep running in the background. And which makes sense, right? So to do that, there is a command flag on Docker run itself called as docker run -d. So which we'll see about this. This is the D stands for detached mode. What D will do is -d. It will spawn the image for you. It will create a container out of that image, and it will keep it running in the background. Okay, so you don't have to uh, stay in the same terminal. So if I just run any of the image name here, let's do that thing with the MongoDB itself. So I'm gonna run Mongo itself, docker run -d Mongo. And what this will do is, if MongoDB exists on my machine, which it does, it will start that container, MongoDB container. Now we know how to see that if it is running or not. Of course, if it gave me a successful ID, that means it is running. If I now check docker ps, apart from that, it's gonna give me that the image name is Mongo, some entry point for that image, and when it was created, and where it's listening, and what's its name and all. The next thing that we will see is another command, because one thing that I missed here is I don't want to use this name, right? My image name should be proper names. Lucid German does not represent anything for this the container. I should be able to identify my container with its names. And with the so what I'm gonna do first is I will kill this container. I will stop this container. Now both the commands are available for you: docker kill, and it's the ID of the container that you want to kill, and docker stop. The difference is stop will wait until container stops, and kill is gonna instantly kill the container without its checking its state and all. Generally try to use stop if it does not matter that much, but in case the Docker container is running and it's saving some states on your local machine, you'll lose that states if you use kill. Okay, so I'm gonna use stop here. Now remember, you can give both IDs as well as name here. I'm gonna use ID, so 07E, sorry, 07E. Press tab. It will try to stop. It will attempt to stop the container MongoDB. Now if I check docker ps, there is no MongoDB running. Now I'm gonna run the same command, but I will give some name, my custom name to it. If you have guessed, the name for the flag for the command is something similar. So docker run, it stands for -name. You can give it like this: name is equal to anything, my Mongo or MongoDB or just Mongo or anything else here that you want to give. Mongo prod, Mongo dev. Okay, this is your domain now. So -name. Now this will set the name for that container, when it's going to create the container, now which image you want to run? You want to run Mongo. And remember, you have to give -d to run it in detached mode. So if you don't give this, I'll show you what happens if you don't give this. So it's gonna run MongoDB, but it's gonna stay in the terminal. Right now, MongoDB, I'll go in the another tab and I'll show you Docker PS. It says that MongoDB is running, but remember, it will only keep on running until this terminal is running. I'm here. Okay, so if I stop this, press Control C. Now that container is gone. We don't want that behavior. That's why we are using -d for detached mode. So I'm gonna do this -d. So MongoDB keeps on running in the background. Now it gives me error because the container name with Mongo. No, my Mongo already exists, so I cannot give that name. You know how to kill a container or how to remove a container, Docker container rm. For the time being, I'll just call it my Mongo with a dash. Okay, so it spawns the container for me. If I check Docker PS now, it's running in the background and it has custom name. Okay, so this is actually really important. Even if you say this was a small thing, because there will be like many containers, many instances of one container image will be running on your machine. You need to be able to identify them. Most of the time, neither container ID helps nor image could help because you don't know what the tags are and all. Command created status or ports help a lot. Most of the time, name is the most common thing that you would look for to check which image is spawning what container. Okay, and it also helps you distinguish between environments and all, like prod and dev and all. So that's why we covered it. And the detached mode, of course, if you understood, it just runs the command. Unlike this, it runs it in the backend. Okay, so that's all for this video. I'll keep it short, and then in the next video we'll see how to log in into the Mongo shell. And now even if it is running, if you test it, you won't be able to log in into it. And in the next video we'll see how to solve that. Okay, thanks for joining. I'll see you later.